Hi everyone. So welcome to part two with Marco Sanchez. So far, we last time we talked about the businesses that he sold, and you can check out the last episode, part one of the first my first conversation with Marco, and it was very intriguing. In combination to the companies that he sold, he also talked about the companies he's running now, and just a general sense of his entrepreneurial journey. And it's very intriguing. It's very inspiring. I don't want to give everything out there, but it's definitely something to listen to. And I do think I, including myself, I'll learn so much from it. So thanks again, Marco, for spending time it's precious time to educate us on your journey and what you have done so far. So thank you for that.
Thank you to you for the invitation, for having me here and to let me share what I know to your audience. And thank you for hearing to anyone who's here in this podcast, in this amazing podcast. So thank you to you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this is the second phase of my conversation with Marco, and this time around, I will just out of his graciousness, give us an idea of how, if you're interested in doing business in Mexico, what are the maybe like the steps, or maybe just the mindset. Let's begin with the mindset. What's the mindset you need to have get into the business climate of Mexico? And I think the second part is, what are the things that you need to be looking out for in terms of finding a good maybe a co-partner, a very local business partner, or finding the investors maybe from the government or private investors. And this applies to either maybe more international entrepreneurs or that are coming in, or you can also share a little bit about what local entrepreneurs can be thinking about in Mexico.
Yes, I think that Mexico, as in any other place in the world, being an entrepreneur is hard. It has a lot of challenges. It doesn't matter if you are in the US or in Mexico or in China or any place in the world. Being an entrepreneur is hard. It requires passion for what you want to do with your business and with your company, and with that little idea that began all the amazing journey of being an entrepreneur. So it's hard anywhere. It's not easy. I think it's not easy. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of resources, a lot of money, a lot of anything. It's hard to being an entrepreneur, because you have to have a lot of skills, a lot of patience, resilience, and other things. So being an entrepreneur is hard anywhere. Obviously, some countries have more benefits for entrepreneurs and have a lot of resources that can help them. And there are some ecosystems in the world of entrepreneurship around the globe that are more advanced than others. Unfortunately, our ecosystem here in Mexico is not as consolidated as maybe it should be. Here, our ecosystem is maybe, and I don't want to be pessimist, but maybe is in their first steps compared with other ecosystems as the US or as the Israel ecosystem, for example. I am going to share with you, for example, a little bit of data. For example, there's a study of a global entrepreneurship index in 2020, in which this report says that among 137 countries, Mexico is in the number 74 of this list regarding the best and worst entrepreneurship ecosystems. So as you can see, it's not the best scenario right now. The US, for example, in this report is in the number one place as the best ecosystem in entrepreneurship. Other countries, for example, in Latin America, for example, Chile, that is in the number 19, compared to Mexico, that is the 74, it has a better place according this report. But it doesn't mean that Mexico is not a good place for investment or for being an entrepreneur. It only means that we have some areas of opportunity to strength and to growth. For example, here in Mexico, more or less 80% of companies of entrepreneurships within the first 2 years fail and doesn't have success and go to bankruptcy. So this is hard statistics to hear, and this is really complex, and this is really hard. And maybe I am not painting the best scenario if you want to become an entrepreneur in Mexico, or you want to bring your company to Mexico. But this is just the beginning. In Mexico, we have a lot of opportunities. We have, fortunately, many resources from many points of view. From the touristic point of view, we have amazing places in which companies have exploited this part of Mexico, the touristic part, by creating companies related to tourism in places as Cancun, or as in Puerto Vallarta, or Los Cabos, that are one of the most iconic beaches in Mexico, or also in destinations as Oaxaca or Chiapas, that these are more, has a different perspective in tourism. So in Mexico, with these resources and with these scenarios, have a lot of potential. What we need to do, or what we are missing, maybe is the academical background of being an entrepreneur. Here in Mexico, unfortunately, we don't have a big financial culture. So a lot of people doesn't save money. A lot of people doesn't have enough savings to start a company, or to keep track of what they should or shouldn't do in their business when they are launching these companies. For example, in Mexico, 83% of people begin their business through money of their own, from their savings or from friends, and 3% get a formal investment here in Mexico. So we need, as a country, as business people, as entrepreneurs, and as schools, to help people in learning more about entrepreneurship. Some schools are trying to do their best and prepare their students with this entrepreneurship ecosystem, for example. And it's not because I am graduated from this school, but Tecnológico de Monterrey. It's one of the best things of this school, of this university, is that helps and gives a lot of information about entrepreneurship. It's one of their pillars in their education, entrepreneurship. So as Tecnológico de Monterrey and other schools are doing, we need that more and more schools join these structural programs of giving information regarding entrepreneurship. Because if we have the information of how do we need to register to the government, what is the process, what are the costs of being an entrepreneur, of paying taxes. So the taxes are hard anywhere. But if you don't know nothing about taxes, and you don't know which taxes do you have to pay and which not, maybe you could get yourself into troubles, and you could hire some agency or some firm to help you, and they are charging more than they should charge to you. For example, in my journey of being an entrepreneur in one of the companies, one of my partners, they knew a firm of taxes and all these services, financial services, and they talked. And my partner was really happy and come with me and told me, Marco, I thought I had a talk with this firm, and they can give us all these services for the little amount of many pesos, a lot of zeros. And I was, no, for example, they wanted to charge us for registering our company with the Mexican government. That is a service that is free here in Mexico. With the tax authority. So that was that is in Mexico a process that is free when you register your company with the tax authority here in Mexico. And that company wanted to charge us for doing that for us. So I know it's maybe as process that they made more easier, but it doesn't make sense to pay for something that is free and you can do in one day here in Mexico, especially when you are starting a company. So this is the scenario we have in Mexico, that some people without the correct information maybe are in that possible scenario of making a mistake that could later create more problems for the company.
That is definitely right. That's definitely right. And thanks. I mean, that was well said, and something that I was curious about, what business school were you referring to? I know I checked out your amazing profile, and just curious, which business school were you able to get this?
Tecnológico Tec de Monterrey.
Okay, yep. That's awesome. That's awesome.
The full name is really large. Is Instituto Tecnológico y de Estudios Superiores de Monterrey, but the short name is Tec de Monterrey.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw something like that. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think that's that you said it well said. Some of this basic information can really go a long way to get people up to date with what they need. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just now going into more about the pandemic this past year, and unfortunately some industries went under the water, and some actually thrived, right? I mean, in the US, Amazon and Facebook, they actually did well. Zoom, which we're on right now, skyrocketed into $1 billion company. So there were some businesses that also depend on the industry that did really well, and there was some that unfortunately, especially brick and mortar physical businesses, went down. So based on that, if you can just talk a little bit about how the COVID crisis affected Mexico's business climate, but on the positive side, what are the new trends out there that came as a result of the COVID that people can be looking at in terms of the Mexican entrepreneurial market, and how what they should be focusing on if they're interested to invest or co-partner with someone like you to build something that can be the next thing in Mexico?
Yes. Before answering fully this question, I want to comment that in 2012, if I recall correctly, Mexico began an effort of creating more help for the Mexican government, create the Mexican National Institute of Entrepreneurship to help a lot of entrepreneurs. This helped a lot for all entrepreneurs here in Mexico to get access to funds, to get access to money, to information, and for being more prepared for the journey of the entrepreneur. Nevertheless, in 2019, if I remember correctly, this institute was well, erased, destroyed, was cancelled because of the new government. And unfortunately, this new government we have has not seen entrepreneurship as one of their main focus for many reasons. One of them is COVID. The actual government, and I don't want to talk about politics, but the actual government had to deal with this pandemic as all the governments in the world, and haven't put the weight that is necessary maybe in entrepreneurs. So it has been really hard for many companies, small companies, family companies, and entrepreneurs to keep going through this pandemic, especially companies that were not digitalized enough, that were maybe in their first steps of boarding and the first steps of being consolidated. Unfortunately, here in Mexico, as I have told, we need to get a bigger approach to the digital world, to our processes as companies, and our ways to sell. There are many companies that have traditional ways of selling, giving flyers, giving this kind of physical information that maybe is not the best way nowadays. So they don't have a digital strategy to help them in their processes, internal processes, and in the way to sell. So many of these companies broke. There, for giving an example, here in Mexico, as many of you may know, tacos are one of our food wonders. So and they are delicious. You need, if you haven't had a good taco, you need to have it. And here near my house, there's a good taqueria, a good place in which they sell tacos. And through pandemic, they didn't have the means to survive, and they had a really good product. Their tacos were really good. Their concept was good, and the place was clean. The attention was very good, but they didn't have this digital strategy to help them be known, be beyond of maybe the people that we live close to this taqueria. So this is an example of businesses that failed here in Mexico. But and this is important, also other companies not only survive but get the strength in this pandemic. Companies that realized that the pandemic was not there was no way to avoid the pandemic. This is a reality that many people have suffered in their lives, in their professions, in their companies. But also it could be an opportunity for their companies to get better, to grow, to digitalize, and to move to the next scenario that they needed to evolve. So these companies growth. For example, in this period, they were born two Mexican unicorns. One is Kavak with K and UV, Kavak. This company is related to cars, to sell, to rent cars here in Mexico. It's an easier way for you. We don't have here in Mexico some strategies like in the US of renting a car. That is your car, but it's like a rent, and we don't have it here. You can buy a car, the full car, and it is yours. Or you can rent a car with companies as Hertz or these kind of companies for a short period of time. We only had these two types of getting a car. So Kavak sees this opportunity of using digital aspects to get known and to get easier to have a car. So Kavak is born and becomes a unicorn. Another one that became a unicorn not many days ago is Clip. Clip with C is a company that is and it's a device to connect with your phone, in which you can pay with card, credit card or Visa, MasterCard, or any kind of card. So with this Clip, many companies, small companies and informal companies, for example, we have in Mexico a lot of informality in businesses. Around 80% of Mexican businesses are not registered and are informal, as grocery stores, as for example, the taqueria I was talking about, a lot of food, small businesses, micro businesses are not registered, and they don't have also the means to charge you besides using cash. So Clip help these companies to avoid having to go to the bank and have this device that the bank gives you on highest high rates of tariffs. And with Clip, it was easier, it was simpler. You can connect this Clip to your phone and charge cash if you want, but also with this device using cards. So Clip also growth during this pandemic. As companies, as these two examples, many other companies have been growing, digital agencies, marketing agencies, fintech. The fintech field here in Mexico is growing. As I have mentioned, we don't have this financial culture here in Mexico, but companies have seen this opportunity of helping people in financial problems with information, with easier ways to have money, and through the use of sorry, I forget the acronym. I don't know why I'm just recalling the name in Spanish. Inteligencia artificial, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. So sorry. So through the use of this and other modern techniques, blockchain, these companies have seen this opportunity in Mexico to grow here in Mexico. So fintechs are growing a lot. Mexican fintechs and international fintechs that are coming to Mexico. So as I mentioned, all these problems we have that put us in the place 74 of ecosystem entrepreneurship ecosystems also are opportunities for companies. So fintech has seen this opportunity and has used it into their benefits of helping people and growing them as companies. So fintechs are growing a lot. Slowly, Mexico is trying to recover from this pandemic, and some places are nowadays, we have some lights to categorize how COVID is on each Mexican state, for example, and some places are in green light. That means that they are safe. We still have to use masks and to be careful. Here in Mexico, the government created a name called Sana Distancia, that is like a healthy distance.
Mm-hmm.
And through the use of healthy distance and and the use of mask and with all these things, but we are moving to green light to have open more stores, and through these, businesses are getting hope again of surviving.
Yep. That's amazing. I just checked out, no, by the way, for health reasons, I think that's important to have, to maintain the social distancing and, making sure that we come out on the other end, whole and safe. So that's, for that effort, I commend. Going back into some of those companies you mentioned, I just checked out Kavak. It's very interesting platform, right? And I think it addresses the specific pain people are experiencing. And Clip too is a very good name, Clip, for a business that does fintech. We have one in Cameroon. A dear friend of mine started one called CONCAMIN, similar to that. I think they're having a very interesting growth, very positive growth with that. So I think for ecosystems like that, West Africa, maybe for Mexico as well, those are very good platforms to build. No, thanks so much for sharing that. I think that was great examples that you listed out there. So now, just the final lack of this second phase of our interview. This can become personal. What are some of the things that you would like to share with other entrepreneurs to be as successful and wonderful like you? From all the amazing things you've done, what has actually given you the drive to keep on going? I know you've mentioned in this episode and the last one about having passion, but what are some of the things that you do? Maybe it's reading books, or maybe listening to podcasts, or or any other thing that really makes you stay passionate, makes you stay motivated about things you're building and how you want to change the world, beginning in Mexico. Are there any activities that you do, or to put your mind in the right space, and also make you proactive, work with the right problems to solve, to build
Yes.
things you're doing?
Yes, of course. I think that the most important thing is trust in yourself. When you become an entrepreneur, there are a lot of problems. One of these problems is people that doesn't trust in you. Even people close to you, in some cases, will not trust in what you are doing, and they will tell you, go and become an employee of this company and other company and the other company, or government or an NGO, and will tell you that being an entrepreneur is risky. And I mean, yes, it is, but it also requires that you need to trust in yourself. Because if you don't trust in yourself, you are in the way of failing. And not only because of all the adversities you will challenge, you will face, but because of yourself. If you don't trust in yourself, you will be the first cause of your failing. So that's the most important advice that I could give. Trust in yourself. It doesn't matter if your mom, grandpa, grandma, daughter, it doesn't matter if they don't trust in your idea. That's the most important thing. The second one is, now that you have a great idea and you trust in yourself, is to validate that idea. Yes, maybe that idea is really good and you trust it. You trust in yourself and in that idea really much, but maybe not all ideas are the correct ideas for your time you are living. Maybe you have a really good idea of selling popsicles of tacos, with tacos flavor. But maybe if you in your country, tacos are not really popular. The flavor of tacos is not good. for your market, maybe that idea could evolve or could be transformed into popsicles of something else. So you need to validate your idea with your market. If you don't know if your market wants what you are offering, then you can't be in the right way to succeed. That is the second. It doesn't mean that your idea is bad or is not correct. It only means that you need to evolve your idea or to adapt it to your situation and your period of time and your place in which you want to create this strategy. Maybe if I have created a SAGA in another place of the world, in another time, it could have been a big failure, or maybe it could have been a bigger, even bigger success. I don't know, but you need to be sure of what you are doing, and you can only know this by proving your idea with your market. For that, you need to know who is your market, to whom do you want to sell, what you are going to sell, what there is in the market that is similar to your idea. In the tacos example, if you want to sell this popsicle flavor with tacos, is there someone else doing this, what they are doing, how they are doing in your country, in other countries of the world? For example, I think in Mexico, we can learn, and we are learning a lot of the US ecosystem in entrepreneurship. We are maybe between 4 and 6 years behind your ecosystem and what you're doing at the moment. But if you watch what is happening in Palo Alto, in San Francisco, in New York, and these all places, maybe you can get an idea of how to get success. You need to adapt it to your situation, to your time, to your country, and to all the factors that you have. But maybe through looking to them, you can learn something. And also to keep being informed, to keep knowing, you need to read a lot. You need to be in courses. You need to study. If you maybe need to have I don't know, a workshop or something, anything that you can use to your benefit of learning about marketing, about financial. Even though if you are someone specialized in marketing, it's good to know about numbers. It's good to know about ROI, for example. It's good to know how to measure things, and you need to know this information. Maybe you will not become an expert in financial stuff, but you need to know the basics. The basics in numbers, the basics in marketing, the basics in what inquires what is required in your country to create a company. What is the process here in Mexico? Is, for example, the process of creating a company is a little bit slow. The first steps you need to take is to register the name of your company, and it would take between 2 or 3 weeks and to 6 or 7 weeks. So only to register the name of the company, it will take more or less 1 month. So it's really slow. And later you have to go with the tax authority to tell them that you have now a company. This process is easy, it's easier, and but it also needs to be done. So you need to know which is the process, which parts are free, which parts have a cost, and safe enough for covering this, and in an ideal scenario, to cover the first 3 months of all your costs. If your cost during the first month would be, I don't know, $100, you need to save $300. If if anything is having problems, failing, you will have enough money for the 3 first months or 6 first months to cover all the costs that you will have. So I think these are the basics of what you need to do to become an entrepreneur, to try to be successful. And I don't want to sound that I am saying this a lot, but you will only be able to trust in yourself, in your idea, validate your idea in the market, know the numbers, know the basics, keep studying, by having passion in what you are doing. Because you will need to resist a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, and through passion, you will be able to endure enough to survive and later to have success.
That's great. That's great. Of course, my next question is to ask, how do you trust in yourself? I know there. I mean, this is a general thing. It's not exclusive to emerging markets, but um, um, in most instances, you know, people have gone back maybe to the home country. What I'm referring to is I have some friends who have gone back to Cameroon or Uganda, wherever they're from, and once they try the first time, they're very confident about the idea, you know, they're studying in the United States or Europe, and you go back home and they want to launch a company, and unfortunately, you know, they run into something and it fails, and they get very discouraged, and the whole confidence that the belt had based on the education, also the resources that they brought from abroad, didn't work out well in those in their home countries. And I guess my question is, how do you bounce back from setbacks, and how, um, if you can, I know maybe it's out of, it's not within the frame of suggesting that, we have to think of entrepreneurship much more as a process, not like a stagnation of of a unique experience, but based on your avalanche of experiences, what advice would you give to people that they hit many roadblocks and they were very confident in the beginning, they trusted themselves, and they unfortunately had a setback? What would you suggest about that? And maybe they're passionate about it. It's just that, the climate is really harsh. They have to. Do you have any?
Yes, I think that I will explain with what I have done, and every people has different scenarios and lives through different things in life, and every person is unique and has different ways to deal with everything. But I will talk about what has helped me, and maybe that could help whoever is listening to this. So as I think I told in 2015, I tried to become an entrepreneur. I failed big time, and and it was hard because at that moment I was really confident, maybe overconfident in myself. And I was thinking at the moment, yes, I am working at this place at the Mexican Senate, and I really know a lot of people, and I know how government works, and blah blah blah. And I failed, and it was really hard for me because first I think what I have done wrong, what could I have done better, and I punished myself for not doing or not thinking all the problems that I could have solved with enough preparation. So it was hard, it was complicated, but then I looked to persons that I admire and their journeys, and it's not easy for anyone. We have people as famous as Steve Jobs, as famous as Mark Zuckerberg, as Walt Disney, and they didn't make their first success without problems and without any hesitation or challenge. They had a lot of challenges. They had a lot of problems. They have been doubtful about their idea and themselves. And if Steve Jobs and if Walt Disney fail through his life and later had the opportunity to rise again and had the opportunity to try again, why he can and I can't? Is he better person than me? Is he more intelligent than me? Well, maybe some could be more intelligent than me, or have more resources, or could have a better education, or a lot of circumstances. But they are the same. We are the same. Both our circumstances may be different, but as persons, only as persons, we have the same. We all have the same brains, lungs, body. We'll have all this. So if he can rise, why I should not rise, and why I will not be able to rise? So, and if they failed and later get that success, that big success called Apple, Disney, and many other examples, why I can't do that? So through looking to others, through looking that I am not the only person that have failed, and I am not the only person that have fallen, is that I think that I am not the only person to be in that place, and therefore I can rise as they did. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I will not be able to create the next Apple or the next Disney, but in my own means and in my own way, I will be successful. I will achieve what I want to do. So I think that through looking to others, to see that you are not alone in this entrepreneur journey, and that many others have failed, and many others will fail in the future in all the world, is that I think you can understand that failure is only part of your journey, that failure will only teach you. And with that knowledge that you have now, that you have failed, you can create the next success, or you can create the next idea, and you can keep growing as person, as professionist, as a business people, as an entrepreneur. So, for example, in my case, with this company, that was a company dedicated to giving advice to political persons here in Mexico, I learned a lot about all our failures. One of the biggest failures I remember with this company, I arrived to a business date appointment, and I didn't knew my numbers. I didn't knew what was the cost of one service. I didn't remember which was the cost of my services, and my partners didn't recall the numbers too in that appointment, and it was a really important appointment for us. And the person that was the countryside told us, "You look like really good people. You look like you are young and you are trying to do things correctly, but you don't know your numbers. And because of you don't know your own numbers, I can trust in you." So that has been a thing that has marked my life. And since that moment, I know my numbers. I know all the numbers I need to remember for all meetings. It doesn't matter if it's a small or a big meeting. So this kind of things helps you in your journey. So try to think that you're not alone. Try to use these failings as examples of life and examples of education, and keep going. Keep trusting in yourself, and it doesn't matter if you fail. The problem is if you keep yourself in the ground. If you keep yourself in the ground, that's a problem.
Well, Marco, you're an inspiring young man. And I do know this episode will live forever on the podcast. So 10 years from now,
Thank you.
10 years from now, when people be like, oh, I listened to this episode with Marco and I'm now a successful entrepreneur in East Africa or in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, or South Korea. We have South Koreans that listen to our pod. We'll point to this very moment in June of 2021 as the place where you shared some really insightful and I would say necessary information of how we should think of ourselves and how we should think of moving ahead, even though we face challenges. And it's tough, right? I think 3 things I've learned from you is 1, you should, be passionate, and passionate comes with trusting yourself. I think this the kind of the second thing that it's important that you mentioned is preparation, knowing your data, knowing your market share, and preparation also goes back to that trust factor. Also goes back into being passionate about it because you want to learn more information. And I think the third is something like entrepreneurship is hard, but you have to. It's good to develop that mindset of how difficult it is, but you should just keep on going, right? It's not a complete summary of everything you said, but I think for me, there's much more. There's much more. So I think this episode really encapsulates you as an entrepreneur, gives people an idea of what it means to be an entrepreneur in Mexico and having the tenacity that is required to keep going. So thank you so much for being on the pod. I would love to have you again at some point. You just keep giving to the podcast. So, any final words you want to share before we close this episode?
Yes, first of all, thank you. I want to thank you. I want to thank your audience of listening to me and having me with you. I hope I haven't bored you and I have shared some, maybe only one thing, but with one thing that I have shared that has been important for you and your audience, I'm happy. I think that as I have told and as you told, being an entrepreneur is hard, but also is wonderful. Yeah. Also is wonderful to see that your idea is becoming something real in the world, that your product or your service have helped and have created a happy face in someone. If you are selling a product, if you are selling a service, it doesn't matter. What matters is that your idea has become a real thing in our world, and being entrepreneurs gives you a lot of learning, gives you a lot of possible adventures, of knowing a lot of people, and through growth as a person, as a professional. And please do not surrender, and please keep going. I wish you the best in your journey as an entrepreneur.
Awesome. That's it from Marco Sánchez, based in Mexico. And just for people out there, I know this episode is going to release way later, but tomorrow Marco will be joining our discussion series. It's part of a Germany group that will have some members. It's more intimate on Zoom as well. People from South Korea as well as those in the US who listen to him personally. So thank you, Marco, for just being here.
It's a pleasure.
That was a good way to end the series, the second phase of interview. So thank you again.
No, thank you to you. And see you soon. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Thank you.